Hello, welcome to the Mad Better channel. My name's Chris. In the recent Luminar Neo update 1.1.0, we were brought the Portrait Background Removal tool, the last of the major new features promised when the software was announced last year. In this video, I will demonstrate how it works and give you some tips and tricks. The first thing to say is that the tool only works on images of humans, so not on animals, birds, landscapes or inanimate objects. But in a video I'll do shortly, I will suggest a way around that restriction in some cases. So let's start by showing how it works using a simple image which is easy for the software, i.e. a plain background which contrasts with the person. I got this image from unsplash.com. So here we are with our simple image in the Edit tab. To get to Portrait Background Removal, go on to Layer Properties, Masking and click on Portrait Background. Luminar Neo does its thing and presents you with a Remove button, which you click to remove the background. And there we go. It's that simple. Of course, in this simple case, it appears to have done a very good job. To see how good, let's load the same image as another layer. Click on the plus, and I've already preloaded the image into the available layer images. Double click to load it. Increase from the default 50% to 100% opacity. And now you can right click on this layer to hide it, right click again to show it. And as you toggle between the two, you can see that it's actually done a very good job. There's a few extra hairs in the original which are not in the remove background version. To test how good, we should add a contrasting layer as a new background to see if there are any fringing or other elements that we want to remove. So let's add as a new layer a contrasting background like this black and white fence. Increase the opacity to 100 and move it below our background removal layer. And now again, there's no fringing around the edges of the shirt or anything, so that looks good. But if we zoom in by pressing Ctrl and 1 to get to 100%, you'll see that there is actually some background still showing amongst the hairs. So if we go back into Layer Properties, Masking, Portrait Removal, it'll tell you when you click on Remove, you have to go through this again, it's already been removed. And now we can click on the Refinements Brush and you get this sort of thing. Now this is not a representation of the mask, but you'll see if you click on the orange tab of the three, that's orange, and this is this bit here. And those are the bits of the image that you definitely want to keep, i.e. the person. If you click on the background tab, that's blue and that's this bit here, and those are the bits you definitely do not want to keep. And then the transition is this area between the orange and the blue where you want to keep some elements and not others. Now you can paint on the object to tell Luminar Neo that extra bits are definitely part that you want to keep. And again, you can click to treat as background these bits that you definitely don't want to keep. But you need to ensure you don't get too close to the true transition zone. And now if we click on the transition tool, this appears to be edge aware. So if I click over these bits of hair here and let go, it's done its thing. If now we go back to Properties, click on Layer Properties, Ctrl and 1, you'll now see it has actually removed a lot of that background mess. So you can go around, you could do the same here. Control 0 to fit to screen. So that's the simple image. We'll now switch to a more difficult image to see what we have to do to get a decent background removal cutout. So here we are with our second image, also from unsplash.com. This is a much busier image with a big sun flare on the left of the face, sunset colours coming through, fringing down here, and just a more, obviously much more busy background. So we'll see how it does. So layer properties, masking, portrait background, remove. So you can see it's done an okay job. There's bits of hair here, there's the sun flare still there, colours coming through, and that fringing. So it'll probably be easier if we add a contrasting background first so we can see what we're doing. So I'll go back to my black and white fence, increase the opacity to 100% and move it below the image, and then click back on the image layer. So to try and improve this result, we'll start by using the Refinements brush. And the first thing we want to do is to paint in more of the areas we know we want to keep, i.e. the object. Just make the brush a bit smaller and paint in all this hair, which we definitely want to keep. All this helps Luminar to know exactly what it is we're trying to keep and what it is we're trying to get rid of. And then background, we can certainly show Luminar we don't want these areas. Okay, so now we can switch to the transition brush to see what that does. So we'll start by looking at this nasty orange fringe down here. And it's had a little effect, but certainly hasn't got rid of it. Okay, let's have a look at these holes in the hair through which the light is shining. Well, that's an improvement. It's taking out some of the background in the gap between the hair. Now let's have a look at this sun flare, see what that does. It just seems to remove the sun flare entirely. And how about some of these fringed hairs here? It doesn't seem to have much effect at all. Okay, so we'll go back out of that into background. It's got rid of the flare, it's let some of the background through here, but there's still a lot of work to do. Now, some commentators have said that this fringe, which you quite often get with the background removal tool, can't be removed, nor sometimes when you get sort of blurred stuff just outside the edge of the object. And that the way to deal with that is to put in a new background which has basically the same colour as this colour fringe. But I don't think that's right. You can still use all of the other masking features in Luminar Neo after having used the portrait background removal. So in this case we can switch to the brush tool. We're going to choose erase, strength of 100, bit of softness. We'll just make the photo a bit bigger by pressing Control and plus, and then space bar to get the hand tool to move it. And now we can simply go down the edge here and remove this orange fringe. There we are, gone straight away. Now, to get rid of this sunset colour in the hair inherited from the original background, we'll go into the colour tool, HSL saturation, and start reducing sunset colours, i.e. yellow, red and orange. And now we're going to masking, get a brush and paint on the adjustment just in the areas we want it. We'll reduce the strength so we can build it up. Okay, so now we just paint over these areas here where the colour is. Another sweep and another sweep here, a bit there and here and here. And there we are. Maybe another little bit here. That's a perfectly good cutout now, despite all the difficulties with the original portrait background removal tool. I should here add a comment about workflow method using portrait background removal. Most people seem to use the workflow I have used here, i.e. open the portrait image, remove the background, add the new background and pull it down below the portrait image. It is equally valid to open the new background image first, then add the portrait image as a new layer on top and remove its background. The portrait background removal works on any layer, it doesn't have to be on the only or bottom layer. This just saves the step of having to change the layer order and may also help in removing fringes from the portrait layer if the background is contrasting. The other workflow I have seen involves opening the portrait image, removing the background and exporting the image in the PNG format with transparency. Then open the new background image and bring in the PNG as a new layer above it. This achieves the same effect, but you have the extra step of creating the PNG file and the storage space it takes up. This is not necessary except if you wish to use blend modes to improve the final image. I'm happy to talk about that in another video with examples if you wish. Finally, you may have noticed me using some keyboard shortcuts such as Ctrl and 1 to zoom into 100%, Ctrl and 0 fit to screen, backslash key to see the original image after editing, and the left and right bracket keys to change the size of brushes. So what I've done, I've gone into the Skylum website and downloaded a list of their keyboard shortcuts for the Windows version, tidied the file up and made it into a PDF which you can download from the link in the description. So here is the file. I notice, for instance, there's a tool, Ctrl and J for clone and stamp tool, which suggests Skylum are indeed going to reintroduce that tool. But strangely, there seems to be an error. They show the keyboard shortcut to go from catalogue to edit mode as the letter D, but in fact, at least on Windows, it's the letter E that does that, presumably E for edit, rather than D for develop, which is the shortcut in Lightroom. I haven't had a chance to check many of the other keyboard shortcuts yet, but I will work my way through them. And if you notice any that are wrong, please let me know, and then I'll produce a revised and corrected set of keyboard shortcuts. Anyway, I hope all this has been helpful. I'll shortly do a video on trying to remove the background from things other than portraits of human beings. And in the meantime, if this has been useful, perhaps you could subscribe and or give it a like. And in any case, many thanks for watching.